Thanks for staying with us. It's still in the game, and it's now time to talk about women's football properly. Talking about the South Africans, the African champions, Banyana, making a count rather against the Italians. It was a nail-biting 3-2 win, and it seemed like the match would end in a stalemate, but the South Africans dug deep and were able to get a victory that guarantees that they will make it through to the second round of the FIFA Women's World Cup, rather making them the second African team after Nigeria to book their place in the round of 16. And definitely South Africa is agog with celebration concerning this feat by the South Africans who are just making their second appearance at the FIFA Women's World Cup. Now, joining us to discuss this is definitely an award-winning reporter right there when it comes to the world of sports. And it's Loni Timkulu who joins us this morning via, from South Africa. It's good to have you on the show, Loni. Good morning.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Let me get your reaction. When the referee blew the final whistle, what was the atmosphere like for you, where you were, and across the streets of South Africa?
It was a crazy moment, and I think after we scored in the second minute of extra time, of added time rather, we just wanted the match to be over. But to see that it had to go on for as long as it did, and then you saw with Karabo Dlamini's injury at the end and the added time after that, that was just such a scary moment. You just wanted the match to end because you just don't know what would have happened, given the issues that they did have with managing the game and keeping the lead. So it was a very long period of added time, but thankfully we did manage to get through it.
Okay, you talked about managing the game right there, and that's what the South Africans failed to do in their previous two matches against Sweden. They took the lead, and they ended up losing by 2-1 with the last man strike. The same thing against Argentina, took a 2-0 lead. They ended up squandering that as well to play out a stalemate. This time around, it seemed they managed it so well. What do you think the difference was this time around?
I guess with the first two matches done, there was already talk about how they're not able to manage their games, they're not able to keep their lead. So I guess at that point, when the score was 2-1 and 2-2, they had to play and give it their all. There was nothing to lose at that point because I guess in some ways the game was already lost. But I think that they just gave it their all. Desiree Ellis, the coach, had said before the match that they would give it their all and put their bodies on the line. And I think something in the second half just switched on for the team, just to say that this is it or this is nothing. This is make or break. So if you can't do it now, then you won't have another chance. I mean, there was still some issues there in terms of the game management, just from going from leading and then drawing. So it's still not, I don't think it's still, they're still convincing in terms of that. But I think that having managed to do it now, it will give them confidence going into the last 16. And even if it's not just the last 16, but for future, because game management has been an issue, not even just at this World Cup, but at previous matches as well, where they can't hold on to the lead. So it'll give them confidence, I think, but it's just good to see that they were able to pull it off this one time when it mattered as much as it did.
Okay, while one can always, bask in the euphoria of this amazing and impressive feats that they've achieved, there's always the need to also look forward into the round of 16 because it's all about the next game when it comes to the world of sports, especially football. So what do you think the South Africans should do differently going into the next game, considering there were talks that, the likes of goalkeeper Andile Lamini, who was, left out of the first two games, including defender Noko Motlo as well, so what do you think should happen in the next game? Are you looking at personnel changes? Are you looking at tactical setups in terms of changes? How do you think South Africa should approach the round of 16?
Yeah, so I actually wonder what Desiree is going to do with that goalkeeper situation now in the round of 16. I think Kaylin Swart gave a good account of herself in this match, especially in the second half, making a number of crucial saves. So I wonder if Andile will come in now or not. It would be very interesting in terms of that. Just in terms of what they need to do, I think, again, just defensively, they're generally very sound. But, the problem is when it matters the most, then errors are made. And those set pieces pieces, man. Like something needs to happen there with those set pieces because they can't defend those set pieces. And we've seen in all three matches where they're just outdone in terms of that. Even when, I mean, with Sweden, we could see that the Swedish players were taller than Banyana players. But in the other two matches, the players were almost the same height, but they still couldn't defend those set pieces, and we saw even today. So I think that they really need to work on, because I think at this point, teams know that if they can get a corner from Banyana when they are behind, then it's most likely to be a goal, to end up as a goal. So that I think is a big one for the team to work on. I'm encouraged by the team performance today in terms of going for goal. It wasn't just Tembi trying to go for goal, but Hilda was playing there as well. Jermaine was playing them in as well. So I think that was a good team performance, and we see the results of making it a team performance. But I think defensively, they just need to settle down a bit, especially when once we're up a goal. And I think, that will help. And just keeping the ball as well, keeping possession of the ball. I think against Sweden especially, they didn't have as much of the ball as they would have liked. So it was better in the other two matches. I think they need to just keep that going.
Okay, finally, in about 30 seconds, what does this feat mean for, South African women's football, not just in terms of the Banyana, which is the national team, but, talking about the domestic league as well. What does this mean for South African women's football?
Firstly, I think it's such a big moment for African football to have two teams going to the last 16, to have all four teams winning a match at the World Cup. Pity that Morocco and Zambia couldn't progress, but it's just a big thing for African football. But for women's football in South Africa, I think, given what happened when they were coming into this tournament with the contractual dispute with the association, that the association now needs to be more serious and take them more seriously, and so that we don't have these things that keep coming up, and show their intent behind supporting the women's team.
Okay, thank you very much, Luni, for your time on the show this morning.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well, we wish the Banyana and the Super Falcons of Nigeria the very best, and we hope that Morocco are also able to make it count in terms of their last group game to be able to book their place.